Do you ever feel that there's more to you than what meets the eye? Do you feel that you have certain gifts, psychic gifts, intuitive gifts that you haven't yet unlocked, developed, or even embodied? Do you often get insights or have the deep inner knowing without even knowing where is that coming from? How do you know these things? Or do you maybe hear voices, receive guidance from the higher realms, and you would like to know how can you develop your gifts better to use them more frequently and whenever you would like to use them? Or do you often sense a lot, sense the energy, feel so much, and maybe it actually is even a little bit overwhelming for you as well, and you would like to learn how can you best embrace and develop your gifts and maybe even strengthen your gifts so you can use them to help yourself, maybe even help other people. In this video, I want to share with you some tips and practices that will help you develop and also strengthen your gifts, your psychic abilities, your intuition. Because having these gifts is absolutely amazing. However, you want to develop and strengthen your gifts so you can use them with more ease, so you can learn to also trust in your gifts, the guidance that you're receiving, because that will actually help you in your life. So let's dive into the 5 practices that I want to share with you that if you start using them on a day-to-day basis will help you strengthen and develop your psychic abilities, your intuition. The first practice I want to share with you that I want to invite you to consider is start working with cards, whether it's oracle cards or tarot cards, because that will then help you as you're working with the cards more frequently to develop your intuition. Because yes, there is a booklet with each card deck. However, the more you start working with your cards, then you can actually work your way up to not even using the booklet anymore, but really letting the card speak to you. And the way you just go about this is you just draw a card. You can ask a simple question. You can do this daily of asking what is most important for me to know today. And you draw 1 or maybe 2 cards. Or if you want to do for the week, you can draw 3 cards. And that's like the beginning of the week, the mid of the week, and then the end of the week. Or you can ask about a specific topic or specific area, and you can also get 3 cards, past, present, and future energies. And then as you are glancing at the card, most cards, they either have a word on it, they definitely have a beautiful image on there, or some kind of graphic, some kind of art, and then you let the card speak to you. Now in the beginning, if you're not familiar with cards, if you haven't worked with cards yet, then I want to invite you to use a card deck that is easy, that you really feel drawn to, that is easy to understand. And when you're glancing at it, ideally you want the image on there to really be clear so it can really spark your intuition, or maybe even have a word on it or a title or whatnot. That will then also help you to really spark that intuition as well. I've had card decks before that even though the cards were really beautiful, but the image on it, I didn't feel that connection with it. So it was hard for me to really receive the guidance. So starting out, if you are doing card readings for yourself on a day-to-day basis, that will then also help you develop your intuition. Like I said, here you can use oracle card decks or you can do tarot card decks. Now, what I have found for myself is that I found tarot a little bit more difficult compared to oracle cards, but whatever works for you, whatever you feel drawn to, go with a card deck that you really feel drawn to, because the card deck will find you the right one that is right for you. And here also, listen to your intuition. If there's one specific card deck that you're really feeling drawn to, go with that. That is your soul kind of nudging you that this is the one for you. Now, I also included some links to specific card decks that I enjoy that are my favorite in the description below if you want to check those out to give you somewhat of a starting point. These are the ones that I have been working with for quite some time now, and they really help me really develop my intuition. But start working with cards is going to help you develop your intuition. And like I said, here I want to invite you. Yes, you can start out with reading the booklet, but then really work your way up to then letting the card speak to you. Really opening yourself up to receiving the guidance by just looking at the card. Then the second practice I want to share with you is automatic writing. That practice is absolutely powerful. That can also help you. That also actually helps you develop your gift of channeling as well. And the way automatic writing works is you get a piece of paper or a journal, get your pen, you go somewhere where you can be undisturbed, you really tune in. It's about really connecting deeply, opening yourself up, connecting with your soul, your higher self, maybe even calling in your team of guides. And then what you do is you write a question on the top of the page. And here you can start with something as simple as, what is most important for me to know today? Or what is most important for me to know about X, Y, and Z, whatever question you have. And starting out, I would recommend ask simple questions, easy questions, such as, what is most important for me to know today? How can I make a bigger impact today? What is most in alignment for me to focus on today? Things like that. Because if you ask those really big questions, for example, what am I here to do? What is my sole purpose? Or something like that. Then you may be too close or too attached to the answer that you're actually self-sabotaging yourself from actually receiving the guidance. So by you asking those simpler questions of what is most important for me to know today, I mean, you can't really be attached to the outcome, right? To the answer. So that can open you up to then really develop that ability to really channel higher guidance, to really receive that guidance. And then you just start writing. And if you're feeling a little blocked and in the beginning nothing is coming through, what you can do is just start writing whatever comes to mind. Oh, I don't really know what to write right now. I'm trying to do this automatic writing, but it's not working. But I have this question of, what is important for me to know today? And I really would like to receive the guidance. And you just go like that, even if it's nonsense what you're writing. And here, don't worry about punctuation or grammatical things or anything like that. Don't worry about that. Just write whatever comes to mind. And then keep that question in mind about what is most important for me to know today. Keep going back to that question as you're writing whatever comes to mind, even if it's nonsense, even if it's just like, I really don't know what to write about. Keep doing that and keep thinking back about that question. What is important for me to know today? Because that helps you as you're just writing. You're in the process of writing, even if it's like I said, nonsense. That helps you tap into the energetic flow. That helps you to open yourself up to then receiving the guidance. In the beginning, before I really learned how to channel, I used to just write in my journal, just writing about my day. And then I may have some questions and I wish I would know about this and that. And then all of a sudden I started noticing that my writing changed. The way I was writing changed. I was talking more to me than, me writing in first person. And I also used words that I personally would not use in me writing, right? So I was like, okay, this is weird. That's when I noticed that I actually was channeling higher guidance, right? But I was in the habit of just writing in my journal, and then all of a sudden I had a question that popped into mind, and then all of a sudden I started channeling a guidance, which was absolutely amazing. So using automatic writing can also help you tap into your intuition, can also help you develop that gift of that inner hearing, that inner knowing. You develop your clears with that as well. So try automatic writing. It's definitely a powerful practice that will help you develop your intuition or just your psychic gifts. Then the third practice is, what you can do is maybe during meditation, or you don't necessarily have to do it in meditation, but you just simply tune in. You connect deeply, and then you open up your senses. You're opening yourself up to it, and also inviting in your guides, your soul, your higher self. And then you can also ask questions. So this is kind of like the same process as the automatic writing. You're just not doing it in writing. You're just doing it tuned in. Like I said, you can do it during meditation, where you can actually have conversations with your guides. Or you can just kind of sit down, just tune in, close your eyes, tune into your heart, open yourself up, really connecting deeply, calling in your guides. And then when you're noticing that they're there, you can ask the question. You can have the conversation with them as well. So like I said, you can either do that in meditation or just by you just tuning in the moment and connecting. Now, this is a little bit more advanced compared to the automatic writing, because when you're doing the automatic writing, you're distracting your mind by the process of writing. When you're doing it in meditation by just tuning in, your mind can then wander. What I have noticed many times is that when I'm tuning in, I'm connecting with my guides, and I'm having a conversation with them, and all of a sudden I notice that my mind just jumped to something completely different. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on, I gotta go back to my guides, right? So it's easy to kind of still jump around even when you're meditating and when you're connecting with your guides. So starting out, I highly recommend use automatic writing for the deep connection, but still tuning in daily can also be a great practice that will help you and also develop your gifts as well. Then the fourth practice, that's actually an exciting practice, is you can tune into things, people, animals. Now, okay, with people, you want to get their permission first before you can tune into anyone. But you can tune into people, you can tune into animals, you can tune into plants and flowers, or just things in general, to kind of feel, what are you picking up on? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? Maybe you're even picking up on their thoughts, their thought patterns, or how are they feeling? Like if you're tuning into another person or even an animal as well. So that is a beautiful practice to really develop your sensing, your hearing, your feeling, your knowing abilities. Like all of your clairs, you can use that to really develop your clairs as well. You can also receive intuitive hits about it. You can even ask, what is important to know about this person, about what they're going through, about this animal or whatnot, or this thing, this item or whatnot. Because even, let's say, you can even tune into crystals as well, and you can tune into to see what are you picking up on as well. That too wouldn't help you develop your clairs, your intuition, because like I said, you can get those intuitive hits about another person or another thing as well. But here, like I said, when it comes to another person, you want to get their permission, because there are spiritual laws. You can't just tune into all these different people without their permission. That's kind of like you just breaking into their home and invading their privacy. There are spiritual laws, so you don't want to tune into anyone without their permission. And here too, whenever you have gotten their permission, you also want to be cautious of who are you tuning into. You don't necessarily want to tune into a very toxic and negative person, because you can pick up on that stuff. And here you also want to protect yourself before you even do that, just to make sure that you're not picking up any of their stuff. But that also would be a great practice. Let's say you're already working with clients, for example, and you want to really deepen that connection. You can ask them, is it okay if I tune into you to kind of see what is going on? What am I feeling or whatnot? Get their permission. But like I said, before you do that, also protect yourself and then ground yourself and cleanse yourself afterwards, after you've done the connection, because you don't want to take on anything that does not belong to you, right? But doing this connection practice is also going to help you develop all of your gifts as well, all of your clairs. Then the fifth practice is, before you make any decisions or you act on anything, or even maybe make a decision on what kind of food you want to eat or whatnot, you may want to tune in first to see, okay, how does this feel? Does this feel in alignment or not? Does it feel constricted or does it feel expansive? Does it feel light or does it feel heavy, right? You want to tune in to see, how does it feel? And then you base your decision based on what you're picking up on. So let's say something that you're tuning into doesn't feel right. It feels constricted, it feels heavy, it feels quite dark or anything like that. That is a good sign that no, this is not what you're meant to be doing. This is stay away from that. So then you can tune in, okay, well, what do I want instead? You can tune into that other thing, right? The opposite of it, to see, okay, does this feel expansive? Does this feel light? Does this feel good? That's how you don't want to make decisions. The same thing, let's say, when it comes to choosing what food you want to eat. Sometimes you may have the craving for some not so healthy foods. And then here what you can do is you can tune in before you buy it or order or whatnot. Tune in, like, okay, does this feel in alignment? Is this to my highest and greatest good if I eat that? Now, sometimes your body just needs the carbs and the not so healthy food, and that's perfectly fine. So that's why when you tune in to see, is this what my body wants and needs right now? If you get somewhat of a light feeling, an exciting feeling, expansive feeling, then that's a yes. If you're getting a constricted feeling, like kind of feeling, then no. Then you may not want to do that. You may not want to buy or order or eat that food. Then you may want to choose that something different. But by doing that, that helps you also develop your senses, your gifts as well, of just that inner knowing, the intuition, right? You're developing that gift. So that also will help you to really stay in alignment with whatever you're doing. Because we often go by what our head thinks. What is the best thing for me to do? Is like, what do I think I should be doing, right? What do I think is the best thing for me to do? Well, thinking, that's ego territory. That's why when you're tuning into something, you're using your intuition, you're using your senses to see, does this feel in alignment? That wouldn't really help you stay in alignment, rather than being misaligned by doing all the things you think you should do rather than the things you feel called to do, right? So on a day-to-day basis, tune into things before you make a decision, before you act on something, or even, like I said, before you eat something, to see, does this feel right? Is this in alignment? And if not, then choose something different. So here are the 5 practices that I wanted to share with you. Now, of course, there are many, many more because there are so many different things that you can do to really develop your intuition. But I just really boil it down to those 5 because these are the ones that really help me really develop my intuition, that I found very easy on a day-to-day basis to really incorporate into your day. So I want to invite you to give them a try. And if you've tried any of those, let me know in the comments below, which one of those have you tried and how do you feel about those? And if you would like to really strengthen your gifts of intuition and develop your clears, then you want to really practice often, ideally daily, really tuning in, using your gifts on a day-to-day basis, because your intuition, your psychic gifts, it's like a muscle, right? So it doesn't ever go away. It's not like that if you don't use your gifts, your intuition, that it's going to go away or anything like that. It doesn't mean that, because your intuition, it's part of you. Your psychic gifts, we all have psychic abilities, but not everyone really taps into it and uses it and strengthen it. So using your gifts, it's like that muscle. You want to train your muscles to really be strong. And it's the same thing with your intuition. If you really want to develop your intuition, you have to practice on a consistent basis, ideally using your gifts on a day-to-day basis, actually. Especially in the beginning, you want to practice often. And if you would really like to learn how to really develop your psychic abilities, your intuition, and all of your clears, then I want to invite you to consider joining me in my program. It's called Awaken the Oracle Within, Unlocking Your Psychic Superpowers. So if you want to learn more about that, the link to that program is in the description below, so you can check that out. But you want to really develop your gifts by using daily practices of strengthening your gifts. And another key aspect about developing your gift is you want to learn to trust your abilities. You want to trust the guidance that you're receiving. You want to trust your intuition. And you want to also trust yourself in the process as well. Because that is often the one thing, the one hurdle that I have seen with most of my students that have been in any of my programs, whether it's the Akashic Record program, the Light Language program, or even the Awaken the Oracle Within program. Any of my programs, because when it comes to developing your intuition, it's like you have to trust. And oftentimes it's the ego that gets in the way of you really receiving the clear and accurate guidance or even trusting it. So learn to trust your intuition. If it feels right, then it is right. So here you go. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that it gave you some insights in what you can do to really develop your psychic abilities, your intuition, really strengthening your abilities so you can use them really whenever you would like, and you can use them to your highest and greatest good, and maybe even the highest and greatest good with other people as well. So thank you so much for watching. Now be sure to check out this video here. This is actually a light language activation to help you unlock your psychic abilities so you can get some extra help there as well, some energetic help. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant and joyful day. Namaste.